Alright, let's do this.
Alright, so Volume 3 does a really good job of building on the previous 2 volumes. This volume's biggest pleasant surprise is the non-Spider-Man stuff, like his high school life and the people around his life. We also get to see the ultimate version of the highly lore-important character Gwen Stacy, who is really going to drop a bomb in Peter's social circle. As for what I'm drawing, I decided to redraw and study one of my favorite panels in this volume. To be honest, it was difficult to choose because there was quite a few that I was considering. I also busted out my alcohol markers to get some practice in with those too. I'm still nowhere close to Bagley's level, but I really want to see how much progress I'll make by the time I get to the last video in this series. Issue 14 kicks off with Peter Parker's teacher assigning the class a project. They have to dress up as a superhero or a mutant. A lot of Peter's classmates cringe at the idea of doing this thing that Peter does like every day, and something tells me we're about to dive a little deeper into MJ's perspective. I see that side eye. We cut to a lab in the hospital facility. 2 doctors are monitoring a patient and joking about calling him Doc Ock. I mean, that could be anyone. Otto, of course, is actually awake, and here's where the body horror kicks in. The mechanical arms are melted onto his body. Gross. Back at Midtown High, the gang's at a pep rally. Liz and Kong are complaining about the superhero assignment right in front of Peter. Ugh, what kind of lame-o who would want to dress up and wear a superhero costume? The topic shifts to mutants, and Kong compares the sudden appearance of heroes and mutants to when the ghosts in Ghostbusters started flying around.
Hey, anybody see a ghost?
A dork-ass reference, calling it like a bad omen, suggesting that we should keep an eye on them. Woke millennial hero Peter Parker jumps into the conversation, pointing out that this is exactly what the Germans said about the Jews. But comics totally aren't political. When a newcomer injects herself into the convo, look at that. It's a punk version of Gwen Stacy. This is way before the whole Spider-Gwen thing, like 15 years early. Gotta say, big fan of the whole outlook, and reflecting on it now, all these years later, it definitely explains my taste in women. Gwen compares the situation to dinosaurs versus the meteor. People are worried about going extinct because they lack powers. But the big difference is that the dinosaurs were unaware, while humans are fully aware. Gwen claims your talents are like your powers, whether you're good at guitar or football, that's your power. It's a pretty interesting way of looking at it. On that side note, she dips, leaving the group dumbfounded, like the mysterious badass that she is. Really strong first impression. We cut back to the doctors explaining Otto's situation. They tell Otto that he's safe, but let's be real. There are some people in this situation that aren't safe. The doctors. This scene feels familiar, almost like it was straight out of a movie. They inform him that he's not blind, just sensitive to bright lights. Almost like bright lights are his weakness or something. They ask him if he remembers the Oscorp accident 3 months ago. Finally, we have a solid timeline. Otto freaks out when he realizes that he has extra limbs. Man, Spider-Man would be really different if Pete got like spider powers of multiple limbs. Well, like he does in the 616 comic at some point. Back at the pep rally, we get this really cute, slow hand-holding moment between Peter and MJ. Damn. It warms my cold, dead heart. Cutting back to Otto, the doctors explain that the arms are melded to his body, fused to his nervous system during the healing process. Otto ends up removing his bandages to see the damage, and oof. Otto gets furious, realizing they could have removed the arms, but chose not to, just to see what would happen. He demands to know who they are, but the doctors say that it's classified. That was the wrong answer.
Write that down, write that down!
We end the issue on Kong laying in bed, piecing it all together. All that weird shit that the Parker kid's done. Wait a damn minute. Parker's Spider-Man. Oh my god, it all makes sense now. Issue 15 opens up with a girl working out in her bedroom when we hear a crash. We then see the shadow of Doc Ock's tentacles coming down the stairs. Not great. Somewhere else, Kong is telling Flash that he thinks Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Flash thinks that he's nuts. Stupid. Idiot. Kong goes into Ace Attorney mode and then lists all the clues. The spider bite on the school trip, breaking the desk, flipping over in the hall, breaking Flash's hand in that fight, him playing in the basketball game. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Flash tells Kong to prove it, and that the proof is in the pudding. I'm with Kong. I'm not sure what that phrase really means. Why bring pudding into this?
Pudding!
All right, come on, you two.
Peter, of course, lets his spider sense kick in, but decides not to out himself. Then Gwen shows up and pulls a knife on Kong. Whoa, okay, my kind of gal. A teacher sees that happen and calls her dad, Captain Stacy, who's in the middle of a crime scene. That looks pretty familiar. Oh my god, wouldn't it suck if your dad's the captain of the police force? He and the principal argue about the situation. Captain Stacy can't exactly leave to, deal with it because, police investigation. Kind of urgent. But then, who should show up but her favorite news reporter, Ben Urich, who wants to scoop on whatever's being investigated. Captain Stacy is passive-aggressive with Ben because of his story on the Kingpin, which threw the whole city into chaos. Which, timeout, I love that side characters are interacting like this. It makes the world feel so, alive. Spider-Man's choices from issues ago are still having rippling effects on the city and its people. They aren't just, here as background characters. Like, they have stuff going on. Ben got his killer story for the Daily Bugle, probably made a lot of money and then gained credit for taking down the Kingpin. But from context clues, this likely made Captain Stacy's job, harder, probably creating a power vacuum. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is stopping a nefarious bad guy who's somehow both bald and has a ponytail. The tailed baddie is stealing a woman's purse. He gives it back, but she calls him a freak. And guess who had a front row seat to all this little exchange? J. Jonah Jameson. Spidey confronts him about the paper and tells him that he's hilarious, and then takes off. Everyone is shocked. Jameson falls over since Spider-Man webbed him up by the feet. That's petty, but I would do the same thing. We then later cut to inside the Bugle where JJ, Ben, and Robbie are discussing the attack from earlier. Ben claims that the person behind it was Otto Octavius. At this point, I'm wondering what he knows. The other two believe that Otto died in the explosion at Oscorp. Ben insists that his sources say that Otto was taken to a government facility in South Jersey, where he escaped and killed several government employees. Some real tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff here, Ben. I agree with Jonah. This sounds like a Michael Bay movie plot hole. Of course, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is eavesdropping on the whole entire thing. Issue 16 opens up with Otto talking to himself? Or is it to someone else? Oh, no, he's talking to a portrait of some old guy. Unhinged, but, what supervillain isn't? He's upset, betrayed by this man he once trusted. We get some insight into Otto's past. There's been some industrial espionage involved. Is this guy one of Norman Osborn's rivals? Otto also admits he can't even remember what he was working on at Oscorp. His memory's getting hazy, but he swears vengeance on this old guy, saying he should have made sure that he was dead. Somewhere else, Peter is on break watching a TV commercial for the Kraven the Hunter's reality show. However, I got a huge kick out of that. Kraven having a Steve Irwin Crocodile Hunter style show is perfect. I'd watch him wrestle bears or something before I'd watch that Sony Kraven movie again. Also, looks like Betty Brant's got her eyes on him. Oh, she wants that man. But Peter, of course, is watching all of this to try and get a hint of where Otto might be. But he's also thinking about everything else that's going on in his life. The new girl, needing to call MJ, and wondering if Otto knows that he's Spider-Man. He gets a death glare from JJ since, he's not working. Then we go to the Gwen and Captain Stacy in his office, where he's chewing her out about the whole knife incident. But Gwen fires back because he never asked why she pulled out the knife in the first place. To be fair, Gwen, you're in the wrong here, but, your heart's in the right place. It was a little much. Captain Stacy's phone rings. It's his mom. Psych, it's Ben Urich. This guy again. Captain Stacy's been avoiding his calls, but, Ben's trying to give him a tip. Otto rented the house where the murder investigation took place and has a source who spotted Otto. I'm really digging this dynamic between Captain Stacy and Ben. They got great chemistry together. Anyway, Gwen hits a Parker goodbye, and just as Captain Stacy's considering going after her, a red-headed federal agent shows up asking for case file. Back at the Bugle, Ben is aggravated that he wasn't able to tell Captain Stacy everything he knows. Robbie ends up mentioning that there's a break-in at Hammer Towers. Hey, that's Justin Hammer's place.
Size does matter. Don't let anyone tell you different.
Do you think that might be Otto? Robbie says someone's climbing the side of the building with mechanical arms. Yeah, that's Otto. Peter, of course, heads that way. It's time to be Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. So this old guy Otto is ranting about, turns out it's Justin Hammer. But man, if you only knew MCU Justin Hammer, you might be thinking, geez, this guy aged badly. We also learned that the portrait Otto was talking to is actually Hammer's dad, and surprise, the redhead from earlier, she's Sharon Carter, a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, also Captain America's girlfriend from the main continuity. Well, would you look at that, we got S.H.I.E.L.D. in the mix. Sharon tells Hammer that the break-in is classified, but she slips up and confirms that it was Dr. Otto Octavius. Well, Otto Octavius, now featuring mechanical arms and amnesia. Spider-Man, known mostly for being nosy and running off, is eavesdropping. But hey, he's web swinged a bit too close to the sun this time.
I started blasting. Bah! Bah!
They notice him and then they start blasting him. Spidey manages to dodge, but his cover is blown, and then he runs off. We close the issue with a cut to Kraven getting off a plane. Oh, so that commercial, that wasn't just a cameo. Don't tell Betty. Issue 17 opens up with Peter watching TV as Kraven announces that he's in New York to hunt Spider-Man, and that he's going to kill him. Yep, on live television. And in broad daylight. Peter is, as you can imagine, shocked that Kraven has the audacity. Aunt May is oblivious to all of it and just asks if he has money for dinner after school and work. Peter's day is, off to a pretty weird start. We then cut to Kraven, who says that he isn't into all the theatrics. Aside from, the theatrics of calling for death of a guy on live television. I'm assuming this other guy is his manager or producer. This guy tells him that he needs to, make 100 episodes to get syndication so that they can get that Seinfeld money.
Yeah, I remember your money.
Seinfeld ended 3 years before this issue, so, it's on people's minds. Speaking of, Friends was still on the air at this point. Man, this is old.
Oh my god!
Oh, man, I'm old. But anyway, it seems like this stunt all comes down to money. No surprise there. From the sound of it, Kraven doesn't even particularly want to hunt Spider-Man. This is a pretty major departure from our 616 Kraven, who was frothing at the mouth of the idea that he had the pleasure of hunting Spider-Man. Over at Midtown High, the gang's in class as the principal brings our favorite punk girl back. Gwen apologizes to the class about the whole, knife incident and assures them that she isn't there to terrorize the school or anything, which is exactly what a terrorist would say. Naturally, Kong feels she needs to apologize more, and Gwen argues back that he should apologize to Peter. The teacher isn't having any of it. Okay, back to the class assignment. Liz speaks up, saying the assignment is a bad idea and that mutants shouldn't be in the classroom. Oh my god, I'm about to flip a table.
Are you serious, my brother?
But remember this panel when someone tries to argue with you about how mutants totally aren't an allegory for marginalized people? But hey, we cut to Justin Hammer's limo cruising through New York. Justin's freaking out, trying to get more backup, and mentions the Electric Boy. Is this where Electro got his powers? Turns out he sold him the Wilson Fisk, and then we get a clip of Sandman in a cell somewhere. So is Hammer in the business of making supervillains? Also, I just want to say, I don't remember this at all from my first read through. It's been several years, but I would have thought this would have been stuck out more. But what a cool detail. One of his underlings advises Justin to cooperate with S.H.I.E.L.D., but Justin doesn't wanna. He and Norman were deeply in violation of the Superhuman Test Ban Treaty. Yeah, I guess so. We then see Justin at a press conference, giving a speech. Reporters are asking him questions, but our boy Ben Urich is there, and we also get a hint of Eddie Brock, just a glimpse of his hand, but I know that hand from anywhere. I want to mention that this isn't the Eddie that we'll see later on in the story. I think Bendis might have been jumping the gun here, but I'll cover that in the Volume 6 video. We'll put a pin in that. Ben asks about Otto, and Justin claims that he has no idea who that even is. Well, my guy, Doc Ock is here too. We cut to the Midtown gang at the assembly, where they're told that Kraven will be visiting the school tomorrow. The teens seem pretty pumped about this. Well, besides Peter. for obvious reasons. A teacher interrupts to say that there's trouble in the school and that they need to remain calm. MJ looks over at Peter, telling him to go. And that's that on having a supportive girlfriend. Oh my god, MJ, you're the best. We close the issue with Spidey web swinging from a helicopter to the dome where Doc Ock is just making a mess. He crashes through it and coming face to face with the good, bad doctor. It's on next issue. Issue 18 is action-packed, with Spidey going toe-to-toe with Doc Ock. One of the most impressive things about this issue is how Bagley draws Spidey's damaged suit. Keeping a character on model is tough enough, but maintaining consistent damage design? That's next level. Definitely something I have to keep in mind when I'm working on my own comic. Spidey tries to make sure that a civilian is safe, but gets clocked by one of Doc Ock's tentacles. Speaking of which, these tentacles can warp their shape? What? After getting grappled, Spidey retaliates with a double smack to Doc Ock's head and then starts webbing him up. But Doc Ock is strong enough to break free. He questions Spidey, asking if he's a SHIELD agent or like one of Hammer's homemade soldiers. Spidey fires back, saying that he's the haircut police. This kid is getting hammered, so to speak, and he's still talking shit. Nothing but respect for my boy Spider-Man. We find out that Doc Ock's arms can also deliver electric shocks. Man, what can't these arms do? Peter gets thrown out of the building, his suit even more shredded, and falls unconscious for just a moment. But SWAT arrives, ready to arrest him. Yes, as usual, every available force of fate is here to make Spider-Man's day worse. Sharon Carter tries to take him into custody instead, but Spidey manages to escape. He ends up jumping off the dock into the ocean, and now underwater, he's attacked by agents and loses his shirt, but still gets away. When Peter gets home, MJ helps take care of him. On the news, Justin Hammer throws Spidey under the bus, and of course, Peter's upset. Another bad day, Pete. I hate that you'll have to get, used to this, my guy. He complains that this stuff never happens to Captain America, Iron Man, or Daredevil. He even says that Daredevil dresses up like a tool. Low blow, Pete. And that's an accidental blind joke. Say sorry right now. We do get a sweet moment. Peter and MJ kiss for the first time. I'm happy for him. Aw. And I'm happy that Peter had anything good happen to him today at all. MJ ends up leaving and Aunt May arrives. Peter, still looking beat up, and is now effectively trapped in the basement. How will he get out of this one? We'll have to find out on the next issue. Issue 19 opens out with Peter sneaking into the second floor bathroom from outside. Alright, Peter, make a stealth check. Ooh, he falls on the ground with a loud thud instead. May, of course, is worried about him, but he recovers and says he has some bad poops. Don't even roll for deception for this one, Pete. Just like real life, this turns out to be a foolproof way to get anyone's immediate sympathy. Next day at school, the studio people are prepping for the show. They're getting the students pumped up for the recording. The reason that Kraven is here is because this is, or was, the first location of Spider-Man's first sightings. No one seems to care that Kraven wants to kill some guy at a public high school. I digress. MJ remarks that Peter's face healed pretty fast. Not fast enough, claims Pete, but we also have Gwen also asking him about his face, and she assumes that it's one of the jocks that did it to him. Kraven finally shows up here and is being asked questions by Miss Brandt. I'm assuming it's Betty Brandt, but this Betty has brown hair, not black hair, so maybe it's a different Brandt. She then asks, so why Spider-Man? He then says it's his next great hunt. Kraven does like a big sniff.
Hey, what's that smell?
Yes, he just starts sniffing people, and then gives off an expression that I can only describe as sus. Later on, MJ finishes patching Peter's suit. She then asks Peter if he likes Gwen. Pete, a teenage boy whose spider sense doesn't go off for girlfriend problems, says that he thinks Gwen is kind of screwy, but at least she's more interesting than anyone else they know. MJ kind of gets upset at him and goes home. Peter ends up asking if she's mad. Of course she's mad. She responds, no. Teenage insecurities strikes again. Look, I totally get it. Some badass chick shows up, pulls a knife on someone, it's gonna grab attention. So here's the thing with MJ. MJ's character so far is pretty much non-existent. She really is only defined by her relationship with Peter. Her personality at the moment is just girl. The only thing that she has going on outside of having a crush/relationship with Peter is just being upset. Her being upset with Peter is fine. It's great for the drama. I mean, She just doesn't have anything else going on, so she just comes off as just annoying. The easy thing for me to do right now would be to compare to Gwen, but honestly, that's way too predictable. So I'm just gonna use Liz Allen instead, because she also has some sort of depression / anxiety thing that we totally don't really understand yet where it's coming from. At least it's something, and it's some sort of storyline for her. Look, Ultimate Spider-Man is like 150 something issues, so we have time to like do something with MJ still. I just think we could have done a way better job than what we have so far, at the very least. Anyway, back to the comic. Justin is back at his building. Reporters are asking him all about what is going on with him and Spider-Man. Justin is freaking out about everything going on, and when he gets back to his office, guess who's waiting for him? It's Spider-Man, and he's just reading a book. Spider-Man webs up his security and then tells Justin to stick Ock where the sun don't shine because he is done helping. Yeah, he's kind of salty about Justin throwing him under the bus to the news. Justin offers Spider-Man $50,000 to take care of Ock for him. Spidey, unmoved by cash or money, either due to his principles or, at this point, spite maybe, yet again pulls a Parker goodbye. Justin gets a video call from his lead scientist, and then Otto appears on screen. Oh, hey, Otto. We were just talking about you. Justin and Otto agree to meet face to face with Justin, thinking he could buy off Otto. Little does Justin know, he got a 15-year-old stowaway on the roof of his car. Craven's guys report to Craven about the Spider-Man sighting. It does look like Betty did get her man after all, so Craven is going to get his man too. Spider-Man. Betty doesn't want Craven to go alone, but he isn't having it, and he knocks out Betty. Oof. The issue ends with Justin ready to meet Doc Ock, and Justin saying Otto won't get anything if he kills him. But to Justin's surprise, Doc Ock has called the press here. So, yeah, it looks like Otto wants to show everyone exactly who his creator was. Issue 20 opens up with Craven doing his spiritual ritual thing with the camera crew. We are seeing the making of a Craven episode. I can't believe they MTVized Craven. 616 Craven would not approve. We cut back to Doc Ock ranting about the evilness of Justin Hammer and tries to coax him out. Hammer's limo goes to take off, but those beastly arms of Doc Ock stop them dead in their tracks. Ends up picking up the car, ready to toss the thing aside and finish the job. But gets some web in his eyes as our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man starts to enter the fight. Doc then turns one of his arms into a gun and starts blasting.
Then they ran away. I ran after him.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot him in the back.
The reporters are way too excited about this. Oh my god, they get to film this superhero fight. Well, I'm right here with them. This is some solid action drawing from Bagley. Ock, of course, ain't much of a fan, as Spider-Man has been wrecking his life. Since all of this is being televised, Craven's team is debating what they should do. We also cut to MJ and the Daily Bugle, all are which are shocked about what's going on. Back to the fight. Ock is strangling the life out of Spider-Man. Ock then goes to shock Spidey, and then makes the same mistake that Shocker does in the last volume. You know, when Spidey just webs up the tentacle and then it backfires. He's 2 for 2 for this. It's a solid strat. Spidey then is tossed aside and Ock goes to attack the limo again, but Spidey pants him. You either die a victim or live long enough to see yourself become the bully, I guess. Spidey then clocks him one, webs him to the ground, and then rips off his tentacle. Hell yeah, Parker. Spidey is clearly the victor. The reporters approach him to get a statement, but a new challenger approaches at the very end of the issue. Craven. Issue 21 opens up on Craven demanding his turn with the spider. Spidey is just kind of over the whole situation. He tells him that he doesn't want to fight and would much rather check on the girl freaking out over by Justin. As it turns out, Justin very conveniently died of a heart attack. So, mission accomplished, Otto. Great job. Spidey asks Craven for help, but the only thing Craven wants is the smoke. He then starts throwing everything he has, and just like his wrestling days, Spidey dodges everything and then clocks him one good time. Well, that's all it took, actually. Craven went night-night. Well, all of TV saw that happen. Kinda embarrassing, man. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if your reputation will ever recover from this one. So, this version of Craven doesn't have powers by the look of it, and is pretty much a joke. Spider-Man saves the girl from the limo. Ben Urich then starts a round of applause, and then all the reporters join in. They then start asking Spidey a whole bunch of questions, like if he knew Justin Hammer and such. Spidey doesn't really trust any of them, as he believes that this is a secret ploy to get info that will help them trash his name again. Spidey then sets the record straight on why he does what he does and why he wears a mask. He just wants to help people, but also wants to protect his loved ones. It's pretty cut and dry. Spidey then ends up leaving, and then the police and S.H.I.E.L.D. show up to take charge of the remaining situation, which really isn't much at this point. When Peter gets home, Aunt May is waiting for him. It's 3 in the morning, so he's in trouble, and she wants to know where he was. Peter, of course, says that he was at the Bugle, and then at MJ's, and then she just calls him out on it. He just can't come up with a good enough lie. So she ends up grounding him. No Bugle, no MJ. That's right, fam. Spider-Man has been grounded. We then cut to Ock in the S.H.I.E.L.D. prison, and then he's going over the whole Spider-Man situation, and of course, he figures out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Volume 3 is another solid entry into the Ultimate Spider-Man series. This entry, the surprising positives are the supporting cast and the school life of Spider-Man. This is a fantastic version of Gwen Stacy, and she makes a really strong impression for as little as she's been in the book. I personally am a huge fan of punk characters, especially when they have attitude problems. Characters like this move the plot forward and just add some spice to the daily life. It's also a great shakeup for the Midtown High gang who just needed something like this. I'm really digging the Captain Stacy and Ben Urich dynamic a whole lot. I'm hoping to see more of these two characters working together. The looming class assignment also provides a lot of drama, and it's unfortunately extremely relatable, even 24 years later. I also think that Doc Ock here is a solid Doc Ock representation, and I think it's a good call to see him this early, and I'm so sorry for Kraven fans. Even though this got a huge laugh out of me, this was still a better version of Kraven than the Kraven movie. The only real negative here I want to hone in on is I want more.
But you know what? I want more. I want more, goddammit, I want more!
Well, I want anything out of the MJ character, but I already harped on that enough. But yeah, Volume 3 builds on what the first 2 volumes have, and I'm excited about Volume 4.